Good morning and welcome to Monday. It's been a week. What a crazy week we all had last time. But welcome back and thank you for joining me. Whether it's live or later, thank you for being with me. Would love to hear your comments and thoughts in the chat section. Before we get started, don't forget tomorrow is Talk It Out Tuesday. And I do have a topic, but I'd love to have other topics as well. And we'll be able to talk those things out tomorrow. So if you have questions or things that you need analyzed or evaluated, or maybe you need something explained, feel free to put that in the chat section. Message me, let me know. Would love to help you and take care of that. I hope all of you now have power back. I know some were restored yesterday. Just praying for all of you and praying that you will continue to see your way through this. Well, today on the show, I want to talk about flaws and all. And in our reading plan this week, we have been introduced to Joseph. Joseph, of course, is a type of Christ. It's typified and it's a foreshadowing. His name is similar in Hebrew, and still Joseph, however, is has some flaws. You know, we live in a time and a place where we try to cover up all of our flaws, whether it's the creams or the potions or the Botox or plastic surgery, a nip and a tuck, a stretch, a pull here. We're all trying to cover up the flaws that maybe we have in what other people can see. But what about the flaws that are inside of us that we can't see? What about those character traits that are fatal flaws in us? Maybe you're dealing with some different issues, and you've always thought, or maybe you've been told that you can't serve God like that. You can't serve God in that way. And certainly there are some flaws in us that cause complications in serving Christ and serving the church. But at the same time, it's not that we are unusable. We're going to find out today that when you reread the life of Joseph, the first thing that stuck out to me, and it's interesting, every time I read, I find something new, and I hadn't really seen it this way before. Who knows why? But this time I was reading through it, and I noticed that first of all, he's a tattletale. The Bible describes how he went and told his dad about what was going on with some of the brothers, and man, who likes a tattletale? None of us nobody likes a tattletale. So obviously the brothers are going to be upset about this. But then he's got the issues of being the favorite of his dad. Again, all the brothers are going to know this. Siblings know who the favorite is. We don't show favorites. The siblings know who the favorite is. And maybe it's more masked in your family, but it wasn't in Jacob. Jacob had a favorite, and it's because he's the son of Rachel, his most beloved. And so it was a favorite of his, and he showered him, he babied him, and so it created tensions among all of the brothers. But then the biggest thing is that you find is he doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut. I mean, he's got this dream, right? And the dream, I think he knows what the dream means. The brothers certainly know what the dream means. And he can't help but tell the dream. Hey, look, hey, guess what, guys? And so maybe he's trying to get the acceptance and admiration of his brothers. Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. Maybe he's just acting out of this sense of entitlement that his dad has given him. Hey, look at me, hear me. Or if he just has the character flaw of he doesn't know when to keep his mouth closed, This is what he's dealing with. And as he expresses this dream, even his dad is like, wait a minute, what? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? And I got to thinking about this idea of character flaws and how we're always trying to cover up our character flaws. We're always trying to cover up these many things in our life. And what if Joseph had a self-help book on controlling his tongue? What if he'd had this self-help book, or maybe he'd gone through some therapy that would have helped him work on these character flaws? Here's the thing. Without the flaw, we wouldn't get the rest of the story. If he hadn't have kept his mouth, if he had have kept his mouth closed, we wouldn't have the rest of the story because of the flaw. Now, it's not to flaunt the flaw. Don't ever flaunt the flaw. That's not the point. But here's the hope that you have today. Flaws and all, God loves you. Flaws and all, God can use you. Flaws and all. It all can be used, and it can all be a part of God's plan. Joseph had this flaw, and in this flaw, it created family issues and family problems, to the point that the brothers threw him in a pit and then still were trying to decide what to do, arguing, do we kill him, do we not kill him? What do we do? Hey, here's a band of Ishmaelites, let's sell him off, and then we'll just lie to our dad about what happened. This is the problem. But if we hadn't have sold him to the Midianites would have sold him to Egypt, and if that hadn't happened, he wouldn't end up in Potiphar's house, he wouldn't end up in the dungeon, and he wouldn't have had the cupbearer and the baker whose dreams he can interpret. He wouldn't have stood before the Pharaoh and given him an interpretation, and he wouldn't have risen to second in power to then save his own family from the famine and certain destruction. All because he didn't know how to keep his mouth shut. Now, here's the point. It's not that we should flaunt our flaws. It's not that we should say, hey, well, whatever. It's not that we should be egregious in that. But we do need to realize that God can use us. We are sinful humanity. We have our problems, and we have our failures, and we have our shortcomings, and we all have our blind spots. Sometimes we don't even see this, why they're a blind spot. We don't see it. Sometimes we don't even want to talk about it. And some people are closed off to discussing it, and other people are let's talk about that. But here's the deal. God loves you, flaws and all. And God can use you, flaws and all. So while we continue to work to be perfect like our Father in heaven is perfect, understand and realize that along the way, we're going to fail at it. And along the way, we're going to fall short of what we're supposed to be and who we are supposed to be and what we're supposed to do. And the fatal flaw may rear its ugly head from time to time. You know what yours is. I know what mine is. And maybe I don't. And maybe you don't either. But the bottom line is God still loves you. God still cares for you. And He wants you to be a part of His plan, flaws and all. You guys have a great day. We're going to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.